Hi everyone, my name is Yukari and I will be making daily process videos for the month of July as I sketch in my Hobonichi Techo for World Watercolor Month. So let's get started. All right, so it is day 7 and today's prompt is breathe. And I was looking up plants that help you breathe, and I saw snake plant coming up and learned that snake plants can filter toxins from the air overnight and convert, of course, CO2 to O2. I guess a lot of people put them in their bedrooms so that they wake up with clean, fresh oxygen. Fascinating, and they're succulents too, so they're low maintenance and don't need a whole lot of water. So it sounds like the kind of plant for me. All right, let's get started. All right, so here are the supplies that I am using today. 3 greens. This is green gold, and I'm also going to be using sap green, and then also a darker, cooler green called Jadeite. And I realized that a lot of people may not have green gold or Jadeite, and so I am going to be mixing some colors to get different greens. So I lay down my yellow, and I have 4 blues. The first is Ultramarine, and the second is Cobalt. The third is Phthalo blue, and then the last one is Cerulean. And then I come back and use my warmer yellow, which is New Gamboge, and I'm adding the same colors to it. And so you can kind of see the kinds of greens that you can create. And if you have a good cool yellow and a good warm yellow, and then the same for your blues, you can create actually a whole lot of different greens with those. And it goes, that goes for other colors as well. As long as you have a good warm and a cool red and blue and yellows, you really could create almost every other color that you can think of. And I also have other colors just as convenience colors. The other thing that you may want to have in your palette would be like a good brown, like burnt sienna, burnt umber, or even sepia that you can use to mix darker colors. And I also use neutral tint a lot for my blacks. So let's get started with our painting. All right, so I am going to sketch the snake plant first, and so I'm trying to figure out ways to sketch the curled part of the leaves, and so I'm trying a couple of different things and erasing some extraneous lines. And I apologize for my hand being on top. I am going to insert a video in just a minute that shows you how you could do it. So here it is. And I kind of figured out that if you do an S-curve in the direction that you want the curl, you can create a really nice turned leaf. And so here are, just in different directions, I am creating these snake plant leaves. And notice that I'm doing either a reverse S or an S curve and adding the other line. So anyway, back to my original work. Now I'm creating the planter, and it's going to be sitting on some kind of a stand because I want to be able to paint shadows like this is from outside. So I am going to start with green gold. That's the yellowish green color, and putting that all over the leaf first. And I'm going to do this in sections so that I can do all the colors on those particular leaves. Now I'm going to use a smaller brush and Sap Green, and I'm going in the middle of my leaf, and where it's turned you can go around the edges. And I think I probably went too much and didn't leave enough yellow, but here along the curve I can paint the entire along the curve. And now I'm using Jadeite, which is a darker green, and I'm just kind of dabbing colors, just making straight jaggedy lines. And the paint is still kind of wet from Sap Green, so it's doing the watercolor thing and bleeding into each other, which kind of creates that faded look that these plants have. All right, and then going back with my green gold for the other leaves. And I didn't really have to wait too long. I was worried about the colors sort of bleeding onto each other, but it really didn't happen. All right, now with Sap Green. And once again, that one's turned, so I went to all the way to the edge on the right. And Sap Green there. And I am going to be outlining a little later on with Ultramarine blue so that these plants kind of stand out. All right, so now with the Jadeite. So here are the motion that I use, kind of dotting and squiggling and letting the color bleed a little bit. And I could have probably used the same Jadeite to outline the plants a little bit as well. But I'm going to be using Ultramarine blue to do it because I'm going to paint some shadows, and I'm using Ultramarine with Quin Lilac mix, the purple for the shadow. So I thought I would just go ahead and use Ultramarine blue. And just kind of outlining the outside of the leaf so they kind of stand out a little more. And now I'm going to be painting the shadows in purple. And these are kind of strong, it has hard edges because it's during the middle of the day, I suppose. The sun is shining and they cast these beautiful shadows. And now I'm going to work on the planter. This is just buff titanium. And I am using burnt umber to add some darker shadows to that. And then the burnt umber with raw sienna for the soil. So here's a bit of the soil. And then I'm going to be going back with Ultramarine blue to do some of the outlining later on. And the stand, I use burnt sienna for that. Burnt sienna and Ultramarine blue make really nice dark, almost black if you mix the right amount. And so I like to use that for the shadow. So I'm just using Ultramarine blue on top there, adding more burnt sienna. All right, so here is my completed snake plant. All right, so here is my completed work along with my journaling. And notice that you can see sort of the different greens that you can create. And I hope that you try different mixes too. And if you are new to watercolors, I would highly recommend you buy, small tubes or a beginner set that has good, cool and warm colors of red, yellow, and blue, and maybe a couple of browns that you can use to mix. Those would be a great way to start with watercolors and create your own color chart so you can see what color mixes you can create. All right, so thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.